Well, guys, it must be either kitchen build or remodel season. Anyway, we've gotten a lot of emails, oddly enough, about a technique we came up with for building lazy Susans of all things. Now, this is an excerpt from our Mastering Woodworking show, which we did in May of 2015. So it's kind of segmented, but you'll get the idea how to do it, and makes for a really, really cool lazy Susan. Check it out. I absolutely, positively, beyond any shadow of a doubt, make the best lazy Susan ever made. I'm going to show you how I make it. Now, I'm going to tell you up front. Most of you are going to look at it and say, man, I don't want to do all that work. Well, then don't. But I'm going to tell you what, they're quite impressive. Here's what we're going to do. In the middle of this cabinet, there's going to be a center shelf. And the lazy Susan's going to sit on it. And then there's one on the bottom. Then we actually take a lazy Susan bearing. Now, this is one from Woodcraft. What was this thing, about $9 or something? It's got 1,000 pound capacity. 1,000 pound. But I'm going to tell you what, they work really, really nice. But here's the other thing. Remember the old Pac-Man games? Well, because we've got this corner in here, we got to notch it. And we cut a notch into it so that the door can shut. They're really cool, and they hold a lot of stuff. So now, when you do this, make sure you measure your diagonal to make sure that you can get the shelf in there. Or you can put the shelf in before you build it. Now, I didn't dado this shelf in. All I'm going to do is put some cleats around so I can set it in. Now, the reason I'm going to do that, worst case scenario, I can reach under here and unscrew the cleats, drop it down, get the unit out, just in case I'd ever have to. But to start with, first thing we got to do is we got to cut our shelf out. I drew an X, marks the spot. There's my center. Little short screw, just a pivot point. Spiral cut bit. Now, you'd probably be better off maybe on this one. You could use a plunge router. I'm going to cheat a little bit. round stuff. We need a rim around this. So I've got 3 1/8 strips of maple. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to laminate bend it. I'm going to put tape on the edges, and I'm going to take some band clamps, and I'm going to clamp it. Now the reason I'm doing 2 is I want the edge to be elevated above the rim so nothing falls over into the cavity over in behind. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to laminate bend the first one, and then I'm going to come back and show you exactly how we did it. Now one of the things I want to show you, I haven't cut the notch yet, and the reason for that is when you laminate bend it, you want a start point. In other words, I want something where I can start this. I put paper under here where I can go down tight to the table, and I can come over here, take a screw or a staple or something, and attach it to where I'm going to cut the notch out. It's kind of a sacrificial area. That way, it's easier for me to pull it around. Make sense? It also gives me somewhere I can clamp this thing to a table. Okay? I've got some help. The first thing I want to tell you, you can't see this right now, but plenty of glue. Lots of glue. Turn it up, head over toward the chop saw. All right. Just something to hold it. Now what I've done, I've got that where I'm going to be cutting out, I've got it screwed down to my bench. You could have clamped it. (13 3/8 and 13 1/2). In any case, what I do is I just kind of line it up from my space from one edge to here, here to here, pretty equal. Set your square in here. Mark your notch. Now, here's a caution. Don't try, if you try to get it real far forward, you can actually cut your notch back to where you get into where your bearing's going to be. Just kind of be careful with that. All right? Now, what I do is I just typically bandsaw the notch out and take a router with a flush trim bit, clean it up, simple enough. Make sure you mount your bearing in the center. Now, let me show you something. If you look, you've got this wide area on the bearing. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. That's what screws it down to the shelf or to the bottom, whatever how you want to look at it. The way a Lazy Susan works, you've got large holes on the bottom so that you can rotate it and put pan head screws in See what I'm saying? It rotates and you can put your screws in that way through the holes. So this is going to wind up mounting to the bottom of the shelf. But the issue then is going to be is getting it screwed down to the bottom or the shelf. So what I do is I simply mark where my holes are going to be, and I drill one, like a 5/8 Forstner bit hole. That way, when the shelf is this way, I can go right down through it, just like I did on the bottom, and screw it down. The other thing that allows for, if I ever have to take it out, I can reach right in here and unscrew it. Works pretty nice. All right, all I did was drew a little circle, just showing me where I need to be. And since I'm working from the bottom, I'm just going to take a small bit, drill it, need scrap. And there's my access hole. Little pan head sheet metal screw. Then, as you can see, I've got my access hole here, and I can just rotate and screw it on. My attachment hole. Screw it down and you're ready to go. If you know anything about cabinets, you look at that, you know this isn't a typical, plastic chrome pole Lazy Susan. This is first class. So just makes for a cool Lazy Susan. Pac-Man. I never played the game. I just watched the kids, that.